Hi, good evening, and welcome back to our SamosaChai.net series. My name is Rashmita, and with me I have Nish and Vivek, our amazing speakers from this show. Unfortunately, you all can't see me. That's because my camera gave up on me at the very last minute. But before I hand over the floor to our speakers, I would request you all to read our code of conduct. Please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. With this, I would now hand over the floor to Vivek and Nish to begin the session. Over to you, folks.
Hey
Hello,
Rashmita,
everybody.
thank you.
Hi, hi, hi. I'm here. I am watching you both. But yes, you can't see me, but all the best and enjoy, folks.
Thank you. So
Thank
yeah,
you,
that's
Rashmita.
true. We have not seen Rashmita today. She's just claiming that that her camera doesn't work. So we've been telling that it's like a ghost. Like we know it could be totally a recorded voice. What do you think, Vivek?
Yeah, it could be. Sometimes, on stream, if you're not seen, then it's like ghost speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So
Nish,
mm-hmm.
this is what? Seventh, ninth, eighth episode, or
I
seventh
lost track.
episode of
Like we've had too many
Lost Track.
samosa chais,
Yeah,
samosas and chais all the time. When was the last time you
Lost
actually
Track.
had a samosa?
Last 2 days back.
Oh
2 days.
no,
I
that's good.
brought some samosas home and I had, and by the way, I was planning to buy some as well for today as well.
You seriously are a samosa fanatic. I didn't know that. I mean, when you came up with this name, I thought you were just coming up for, I didn't know that
No,
you're a true fan of samosas.
I am. I like kachoris as well, which
Okay.
is slightly different version of samosa, but yeah, that's something a different one. Yeah, Nish. By the way, I know what I just wanted to ask you. What does board developer do? If
Mhm.
he's bored, what does he do? Like what you did yesterday night.
The both developers just go on to Instagram and create reels. Or since we don't have TikTok here, reels are the most exciting thing to do. Yeah, that's what I did yesterday. So what Vivek is referring to is like last night I was like I mean, we all pretty much stay awake till late doing our our meetings and code and things like that. And there is a little bit of time where there's no sleep, and the decision to whether to sleep now or too late, and all those kind of things happen. And that's the time I thought, like, okay, I was experimenting with GitHub's Copilot, which is like, it blew my mind. It was really amazing, like how it can go and predict the next code, and then like I didn't have to go and look at the documentation. It was able to write its own. So what I did is like I was like, okay, let's go and build a desktop app. I've not written a desktop app in like in ages now, because nobody is writing desktop apps. Earlier, it was like a thing that we all write something and then have our own tools and things like that. So I thought, okay, let me see how good is a Copilot in that, and they announced a preview version of the Visual Studio, which can integrate with Copilot. So those of you who do not know what Copilot is, it's nothing but an AI programmer. So you basically install that into your IDE, like the Visual Studio, and it can actually predict the code that you're going to write, and it'll give you this just like IntelliSense, but it's going to give you this whole set of code out there. So you can actually just do a tab, enter, and you're all set. And I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. So I said, like, okay, let's start building something, right? So I opened Visual Studio, open the desktop app. It's like, okay, what am I going to build? Okay, let's create something which I can go and pick an image and put it into the control, right? I mean, that's the basic same thing. I mean, people do, like, I mean, if you are from the Windows Forms days, earlier VBs, you will drag and drop a button, double click, and you say, yeah, message box dot show, or in JavaScript you do alert, right? So that's a basic thing. That's like, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to pick an image from my desktop and then display that in the image control. I thought, like, okay, let's go one step ahead, and I started doing that. And what happened was, like, it was amazing that it started showing me what should be the next code, and I just tap, and I literally didn't write a single line of code. I mean, I wrote code comments. Like I said, okay, I want to get the file, or I want to pick images, or I want to filter the images. That's I'm writing code comments, and from the code comments, it's inferring that this is what I want to do, and it gave me the entire piece of code, and I said like, okay, there's no way this is going to work, and I pressed Fi, and I started looking at the app, and boom, it just all worked, and I was like, wow, this is really amazing, and I thought like, okay, I should do an Instagram reel about this, like because it took me less than 30 to 60 seconds to just do this. So I thought, okay, let me do it. And so I opened the screen recorder and I started recording it. And then the glitch just started to start working the way it was supposed to. First time it worked great. And then there were, so obviously it's a preview, so there are glitches in it. But then when I started doing further, it was just going great. And then I thought like, okay, then I edited that into a video, and that's what I did. And a lot of great comments coming in from a lot of people saying yeah, they liked it, and
Why
it's
why don't
amazing.
you why don't you just post that link here?
It's actually so there's Nish
You have
Anil
it?
Instagram, Twitter. All of this ends with Nish Anil. So if you go to Instagram, go to Nish Anil, go to the reel section in the first video. Um, that's uh, that's the thing. So I was just playing around
We'll
with
try
it,
to get
and
it.
yeah. And if you,
Yeah,
I mean, I was like, okay, I was not in the opinion that we should start doing technical videos less than 1 minute because it's really super hard to do it. But looking at how people like it, I think I should start doing more. Let us know. I mean, do you want us to do 1 minute short videos? Maybe we can do something like a samosa chai, Instagram and reels and things like that too. Who knows, right?
definitely. I think that's something we can definitely try, and we do have something coming up soon, right? And I don't know if people know that reactor is a physical location. It's basically exists as a physical location. You can come there and meet us as well. We are opening on 22nd April. You can meet us. We have an event. We're going to post the link in the chat. Do join us there for sure, and we can definitely meet, have fun, learn something from each other, and enjoy stuff. Okay, so
That is
what are we
amazing.
doing
Actually,
today?
let us know in our comments. Like, do you
Yeah,
like to see in-person events? Do you like to, I mean, the
meet us.
answer I can pretty much expect. Yeah. Do you want to meet us? Do you want to chat with us? Like real informal conversations, and then have samosas and chais. Just let us know. So we can push for more in-person events too.
Definitely. I think that will be an amazing stuff. Perfect. So Nish, what are we doing today? Oh, let me first recap now. We have what, eight sessions done, 8 or 7 sessions done. Seven.
Hmm.
Let me put it
Okay.
correctly. Seven
Next
microservice
time we should come
sessions.
with a real number.
Your real
We should
number,
go back
yeah.
and check.
No, I'm sure it is seven because my slide says episode 7. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
It's
It's
it says 11th session of the series though.
a series,
Look at the screen.
Chai
Okay.
Samosa, Chai Samosa
Okay.
series, but seventh session for
Oh, you
microservice.
mean the microservices series, right?
Yep, yep. And yeah, recap. So what did we learn so far? We let me show that in a probably through our challenge. We did launch the cloud skills challenge, and 22 days left. The days are coming closer to closure, right? We got 22 days to end this cloud skill challenge. So you can either take this link and this QR code and just land where here.
Yeah,
Okay, this is the cluster challenge, and when you join the challenge, you will be able to access all the modules which we have been executing here. And look at this, that's my number. Like, I've completed
it's
8 out
amazing.
of 9. So that's
And
I
we
want
still
to
have
so
22 days to go.
yeah, I'll finish that one. So so this is the things which we did, which is like building your microservice app, and how to deploy it onto Kubernetes and on Docker, how to build it with Docker and deploy it on Kubernetes, the tools required. We did build a coupon service, a new service altogether, and we deployed it and created a microservice app, even integrating with the order service and other things. We did, spend some time on implementing resiliency, that is, how to handle failures either from code or from the infrastructure side. We are going to do this next session, which is how do we monitor stuff, and how do we instrument cloud native microservice app to use the Azure monitoring service which we have. And we did feature flag, we did data store. Last session was on how to use manage data store, and today we are discussing about GitHub Actions. So these are the things which you can learn in this in this cloud skill challenge, and these are things which we have already completed. You can keep this as a reference, these videos as a reference, if you want to go back and learn stuff. So going back to my slides, so Nish, the objectives for today's session.
Yeah, so GitHub Actions is amazing. A great workflow setups that's out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at microservices, right, and DevOps with respect to microservices. And as we spoke in the previously as well, that every microservice will have its own CI/CD pipelines, and even though they are part of a large app, but they are very independent and autonomous, and individual teams can kind of like run on their own. So that means your CI/CD cannot be clubbed along with the other services. So you need to have separate ones. So that's what we're going to look at, like how we're going to implement CI/CD separately for a one service, and then it just going to work magically across when you decide to deploy to the production and things like that, right? While we're doing so, we need to be sure that we are securely storing our sensitive data. Even though for the demo purposes, we do play around with the keys here and there, but we always encourage you to use the right tools. So we'll show you how to use GitHub Secrets as well today, and then we'll also talk about building and pushing images to a container registry, and how securely you can access a private registry from GitHub Actions, where it will go and build and deploy, build and push it into a container registry, and then eventually we'll see a Helm chart modification where we will pull it out of the registry and deploy into our Kubernetes cluster. So if you have been following up with us for the last few episodes, you will get an idea about how we have been able to use the same applications, same scenarios, and how we are focusing on specific technologies or specific strategies that is needed for microservices, and we're focusing that way. So as Vivek mentioned, today we're going to talk about GitHub Actions. The next episode, I think it's the instrumentation of flow, like how do you monitor these services. So we're going slow, but you don't have to go with our pace. If you are happy to learn quicker, go ahead and execute those challenges and answer some simple questions on those badges, and come up in the ladders, right? So and then we're also going to look at Helm chart modification. We spoke about that, and then we'll also look at how do you roll back changes as well. There are many strategies there, but we're going to look at a sort of a tooling perspective. What are how we can roll back something which you have rolled it into the production and you just want to revert it, right? So so these are the things that we're going to look at, Vivek.
Yep.
Pretty exciting. And I can't believe it's such a simple thing, right? Even though we are handling such a complex architecture, but the way we're going to do it, it's going to be very straightforward and simple.
Yes, and also this architecture is what we have been using all
Yeah.
through the microservice series which we have been doing. And today we are going to again build a CI and CD for coupon service, and that's something which we are holding on to, right? From the day one, we
Yeah.
are integrating coupon service to order management system, and also to the RabbitMQs and other things.
Mm-hmm.
And while monitoring as well, we are going to use coupon service, and in GitHub Actions as well, we are going to build and deploy something for coupon service itself. So the learning is specifically we are doing it for one service, but it's the same for rest of the service as well, right?
Yeah. That's right. So,
Cool.
those of you coming for the first time into this is the microservice architecture. This is again a reference sample. It's out there in the GitHub.NET architecture repository for a very long time. It's one of the popular samples, and it is a little bit complex to get it started. but at the same time, it's not as much as production as you would want it to be, because we wanted to somewhere draw the line between, okay, this is the complexity of microservice architecture, but we don't want to make it like production, like, because then we will be involving to various other factors, right? So it's a great enough thing for someone who's getting started with microservices and want to explore more. So it talks about like how do you create business boundaries and split across your application into multiple microservices. So you see on the right there are like different services, and every service has independent repositories. They do not connect to each other's repository. Instead, they go through the endpoint. So there is event driven, we're using the event bus. There is also sometimes you want to connect directly to these services, so you have those REST endpoints as well. And all of these services do not expose outside, so that's why we have an API gateway in front, and we also have implemented backend for front end there. We use gateways in a very simple fashion, like using a reverse proxy like Nginx to accept traffic from the world, and then taking it and then connecting those microservices. So we spoke about this in length. So if you're someone who wants to understand this from perspective of the first timer, I would encourage you to check our previous videos, and that'll cover in depth in things. For now, so the first episode in this series of microservices, we actually covered about understanding Dockers and Kubernetes, and then eventually we went to like, okay, how do you build it like production? Like, how do you this is the production environment, and now you want to build a new service. So how are you going to stitch this thing together? So we showed that. So the coupon was one of the services. So if you look at the eShop on Continuous original repository, even now it doesn't have the coupon service. So coupon service is only exclusively available to the MS Learn users. So we started building this, and then today what we're going to look at is, okay, think of that like, okay, this is a huge microservice architecture, and Vivek and I are someone who manages the coupon. So how we are going to look at, okay, how are we going to implement our own CI/CD pipeline for our own services, and yet we're going to deploy to the infrastructure, which is going to sit with the other microservices in the cluster, right? So
True. I think those sessions are amazing with the
mhm.
magic script.
The magic
Okay,
script.
cool. So
Yep.
I just want to spend some time, talking about DevOps in general. So you know DevOps is nothing but to get feedback, right? To make sure that you, while you're building your product, you want to take that product to your customer as soon as possible, and make sure that you get feedback as soon as the code is in the repository, and you want to get that feedback of your code, and you fix that problem very easily, where they you know let me put this, like 10 years back when I was pushing code, probably I used to get the feedback after a month. After a month, or maybe even more than that. What is the issue with the code? And as a developer, you don't even remember what you had done and why did you do this, right? And that's the kind of environment where we were working. And look at the evolution which has happened from GitHub, the Git and other things which has come in, and how things have changed, where I just push the code now to the version control, and from that version control you can see there is a build and unit test which runs, and it gives you feedback whether it is not good or not, something is failing and other things, and you fix it, and again you push the code, and it goes through that different stages and different environments of testing, and then it goes to directly into production. Yeah, you can do this in a continuous delivery mode, or you can do this in a continuous deployment mode as well. Continuous delivery mode is where you have approvals, which you can see in the diagram as well. There are approvals at some stage where the code needs to be approved to go into the production, while it's in continuous deployment mode, right? When it's like no approval is required, and it just goes to the production without anyone's approval is required, right? So everything is automated here, and to build this automation, and because you have your source control version controlling system on GitHub, and that's the reason why GitHub Actions was built. And GitHub Actions was not just is just not used for CI/CD kind of a workflow, right? The developer workflow can be anything, right? Either you
Yeah.
can have a new contributor joining your uh, GitHub repo, or it could be you're adding labels to your the
Issues.
issues which you have created, and you're creating some PR, and you have some specific things to do in the path. Something gets updated in a path, you want to run some automations there. There are a bunch of things you can, is called, it's a developer workflow, right? So
Yeah.
CI/CD is one of the workflow, and GitHub Actions provides you a platform to automate all of these workflows. And it has sort of, it's simple again, YAML. Again, you can build it with a YAML, as I told, right? YAML is the new code. That's what it is. So that's about GitHub Actions. So Nish, you want to take a deep dive at GitHub Actions as well?
Yeah, I think the best way to understand GitHub Actions is to not think in terms of CI/CD. Instead, think of GitHub as a repository, and everything that you want to do around it, like automations of, like, someone is patching something, or like, a new person is joining your team. What would you do? What are the flows looks like? So you can automate anything. So that's what is GitHub Actions popular for, and it's pretty much for all your GitHub repositories, right? Whether you're using GitHub Enterprises or the public one. But it's mainly to do with your repositories, has to be like part of the GitHub and those flows. So we what we're going to look at is, today is more onto the CI/CD side of things, because we are going to be focusing on the coupon microservice, and we'll show how to do the CI/CD. And yeah, I think the deep dive is when we start writing those things. We can talk about it more.
Yeah.
Vivek.
Yeah, so I'll just spend some time on the
Yep.
components of GitHub Actions, right? So everything is triggered through an event. So everything is about an event. So when a developer does something, there is an event which is happening, and through that event, some of the things gets triggered. And the most important thing to know here is, there is something called as runner, and runner is nothing but an infrastructure. You definitely need an infrastructure to run a Docker commands, or you need infrastructure to run scripts, run commands, and everything, right? So runner has been provided by GitHub Actions as a part of the one of the infrastructure for you, where you can choose this infrastructure. And whenever there is an event which is happening, you create an infrastructure, and within that infrastructure you run job. And in this particular jobs there are steps. So steps are individual steps you want to run, like run some actions, or run some script, run some command, or something like that. And you can connect this with different runners, and have different jobs created and other things. You can create a multiple workflows like this, and connect each of these workflows, build a pipeline around it. That's what you can do with these components. Let me take an example, right? So let's see what is an example. We just want to see version of one of the node platform, right? So just on push event, you have the runner can be infrastructure, right? So here I'm choosing Ubuntu, but GitHub Actions provides Windows, and it also provides Mac as part of the runner, and you can choose that. And there is particular jobs you can run. The job, you can give a name to it, and then there is step 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can run these steps in 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see the version of this specific npm package, right? So that's the simple workflow, and we are going to build something similar, but very little bit of complicated, because we are going to use a couple of actions as well. You can see here checkout as an action, setup node is one of the actions, which are nothing but templates, which are pre-built templates. We're going to talk about it. And there is I know there is Azure specific actions as well, where you can access that and run it as well, right? So anyways, when we go into the exercise, we're going to anyways learn all of these things. So this is what we are going to do. We'll set up the environment, we'll configure it, we'll run build the container image, and then deploy to AKS, and then we'll revert back those changes whichever we deployed, right? So Nish, let us go
Yep.
and execute stuff. So I'm in this exercise. So
Hmm.
it has to be unit introduction. So this is the um, learn module, which is talking to GitHub Actions. So we'll go to setup environment. Very interesting. Here also we have a magic script, like how we have it in all the modules. The only change here is you have to make sure you have the repo. You go to this repo and you fork it. How do you fork it? So let me show you how do you. If you go to the repo, okay, this is my repo.
You can click on that forked from right below your.
This one, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the
So
link
that's the
which
repo where you will
main.
be gone to. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the main repo. You just go and click on this fork button, which is here. You can see
Yep.
this one. So when I click on this, I can fork it to different accounts I have. So I have forked it to my personal one, but that is this one. This is the one. So it's been forked. So while creating something in the specifically while running this setup script, you'll be asked to give the repo details. So just make sure you copy the details and provide that. So where do you run this script? So all you have to do is to go to here in this portal. You can see my one of the button cloud shell here. So when you
Yeah.
click on this cloud shell, you can see that
So to
I already have the cloud shell created, so don't worry.
yeah, to run these things, just a reminder that you need to have an Azure subscription with some owner permissions or owner privileges. So you can start with a free subscription, and this module, it'll show you exactly how much it's going to cost if you were to just do it for a few days or something. And it's actually very minimal, but don't forget to delete the resources once you do it, so that it just doesn't blow up your free credits that you probably could have got from the free subscriptions. So yeah, I mean, once you log into the portal, as Vivek mentioned, there's that nice command terminal kind of icon. Just click on that and it'll open this cloud shell, and this is where all the magic scripts is going to do its job. So click on that, paste that link, and then what that will do is that will set up the entire microservices, like the entire application, the e-commerce application, onto your cluster. And you can go to the health check, like once. Okay,
Yep.
can you do a cat for me, maybe? So
You want to do the
yeah, just
cat? Oh, okay,
deployment
wait.
URLs. You need to be in the folder.
Okay.
So yeah, what it
So
does is it
is
just creates. Yeah.
cat? Where is it?
Okay.
Deployment.
It doesn't.
It's
No, I think.
which
Yeah, there you go. Not there. Maybe it's then the temp folder.
the temp folder.
Try that, because I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, it's there.
temp.
Yeah, deployment URLs. Yeah, that's it. So you can see that as when you log in, like when you do this for the first time, it's going to actually give you these URLs at the end of when the script is done. But if you don't see it, then this is what you need to do. You got to type in cat and then put deployment URLs, and it's going to tell you this. So all these public IP, all these things are actually created for you. So you just have to just go to the web status link. That's what I do generally, because microservices, everything is independent, so they all take their own time to come up depending on what are the dependencies that it runs on. So just go to the web status and make sure all your services are running. And this is all about health checks. We talked about the health check in our previous episodes. So if you want to know how to implement health check, go back and check those episodes for sure. So we show about how to do this. So now that we have all the services healthy, you can go to the main application. That's the default public IP. Once you go there, you'll see this. This is an e-commerce application. You can buy products here, which never ships to your home, but you can definitely like go through that entire process of like buying. Like you can log in and then put in something in the shopping cart. And here there are multiple microservices. There's a basket microservice. There's a catalog microservice, which is actually giving this entire catalogs. And then there's a identity service, which takes care of the authentication and so on, right? So yeah. So this is what the application looks like. And you can go ahead and complete this process. I think Vivek, I think we can move on to the next one, right?
Yeah, so that's it. So it's once you have configured that, we'll have to configure GitHub Actions for permissions and secrets. So it's to connect with Azure, right? How do you connect
Mhm.
your GitHub Actions or GitHub repo to the Azure so that it can run a couple of automations, right? So that's what we can do. And before that, you want to. I think this is fine. We don't need to do this. Do we need to buy stuff?
Yeah, it's okay. I
No,
think
no,
it's just
that's
you
okay.
have to just believe us that you can. It's just gonna
Yeah,
work.
yeah. And the most important thing about running this is there is one specific command which you need to run, where you're going to get a simple JSON format like this. You need to add your subscription ID to that command, and this is to create a service principal to access the Azure, right? So anything you want to drive through the Azure from a GitHub, you just need to set it up. So how do we set it up? You just run this command with your subscription ID provided. Once you run this command, there is an amazing JSON format which will come out, and you just copy this. And once you copy this,
Yeah.
um, go
Go to your
to
fork
the
repo.
fork repo and go to
Yeah.
settings. And
Yeah.
in settings there is secrets, and within that secrets there is actions. Yeah, I hope it's visible. Yeah, actions. So when I go into the actions, there is new repository secrets here. So click on that and just provide a name, Azure credentials, and just copy paste that
The
JSON
entire
file,
value. Yeah.
right?
So
So I've
remember
already
this.
done that, by the
Yeah,
way.
remember the names that you give there have to be exactly the same because the scripts are going to use that. So there shouldn't be any spaces or like unwanted characters in it. And that JSON that you saw that entirely has to be copied along with the braces, and then just dump it into that value column. And one more thing is you can never edit this, so you can never go back and see it. The only way to do it is like delete it and recreate it because they're all
Or
sensitive
you can
strings.
update. That's it. Or
Yeah,
you
you
can
can.
update as well.
Okay. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's going to replace. You're never going to see. You can't
Yeah.
individually edit anything there, right?
Yep. So, and couple of things, when you run that script, it provides you with IP address, register login server name, register password, and other things. But I'll show you how to create one of the thing, which is this is what I did right now, right? So, which is registering name, username. So let's go and create this one, new repository name. Will create. I will add the name. What is the name? This is the name.
So this
Okay.
again comes in the when the script runs, it
Script
will actually
runs.
show
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So this is all randomly created because your ACR has to be unique. So it's basically eShop and then some
Yeah.
dates and things like that to unique. So that's
So
what.
repeat the same step. Yeah. Repeat the same step
Mm.
for rest of the things. So you just go here, create new secrets, take the IP address, put it out there, go, register server and passwords and other things. The same steps, repeat it, and then you're good to go. So this is what we did. Now we have updated it. Now we are going to go and build a GitHub Actions for building a container. So it's nothing but a build workflow. So what we'll do is we'll go and set up a new workflow. Okay, so let us go back to my GitHub repo.
Yeah. So basically, what we did right now is we let GitHub know how to communicate with our Azure infrastructure, right? So it needed a service principal to connect with, and um, some other things like container registry username and password because you need to push your image into a container registry. So it needed those things. So we actually added them as configurable variables because they're secrets, so they cannot be pulled out. It can only be edited or updated. Sorry,
Yep.
updated or deleted.
And
Yeah.
now we have GitHub. There are a couple of repositories where you can make use of, but for this one, we're going to set up ourselves, right? An empty one. So let's go and create an empty one. There's already a bunch of things which we can remove, and let me open the challenge here itself so that it's easy. and configured. Yeah, you can see this. So we need to copy this, right? So we just need to copy this and place it there. Done. We are ready to go.
Yeah. So you can probably go ahead and explain the steps a little bit.
So it's build.yaml, right? So let me preview this. Okay, so this is how it is, right? So what we are doing is, so basically it's a push on the path. So if there is any changes which is happening, um, you know, in this specific path, any code changes, anything you're adding there on a branch, on a specific branch, both has to be met. Both,
Yeah.
both of these, YAMLs has to be set to true to, to execute this particular GitHub workflow.
Just a quick
So
thing,
it's on
Vic.
push. Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick thing is like, see, microservices by default will have independent repositories. So Coupon will have its own repository, Catalog will have its own repository, teams will be separate. Nobody will know each other's code sometimes, right? So, but because we are handling an anti-pattern here, which is a monorepo, because it's a sample and we want everyone to look at the sample as a whole instead of like going to multiple repo and cloning and forking and all those things. So, but the CI/CD pipeline doesn't have to be kind of like single for everything. Instead, they can be independent, and that's why we are saying within the services, only trigger this workflow any on changes to the coupon. So anything under the coupon folder, only then these services are going to be triggered. So that way, we're
Yes.
keeping this flow separate from other microservices. So anybody who goes and commits any code in the catalog folder will not have any issue. This flow will not be run at all. And we just want to make sure the flow affects only when the push is into the main branch. That means it's not even on a PR. Instead, it is like when you merge something into the main, that's when you
Mm.
want to trigger this workflow. So that's what is happening here. Yeah, go ahead.
True. Yeah, I think both has to be met. It's
Mhm.
not like,
Yep.
it's just if you just push it on the main, it will not trigger unless and until even path has been updated. So that's something which you should keep in mind. And then then there is job, and when you see the job, it runs on the um, runner, which is runs on. We are picking Ubuntu, and these are the steps which we are running for build and push the Docker image to Azure Container Registry. And you can see it just uses a pre-built checkout as one of the actions, right? So it's already a template. Everybody needs to check out code if they have to run something on that code, right? So to make it standard way of checking out the code, GitHub provides a couple of actions where you can find all of these actions. Just go here, github.com/actions. um, you will see all the available actions for you, right? So you'll see all the actions which is out there, and you can search for it, and you can basically, the one which we are using is checkout, so we'll just type checkout and you are here. So you can just go to this, and every other actions have this action.yaml. This is where the structure is, how to use this action file. So if you understand this, you'll be easily able to understand what should be provided with the actions, right? Which is this particular keyword. And similarly, Azure also has, but we will talk about that later. Same thing, we are running unit test. So Nish, so by default, when you run .NET, um, telemetry is enabled, is equal to true or false? Like it's
Yeah.
false.
Yeah, those are all environmental variable. You can remind you can't like keep it off. Like these environment variable will be picked up by your .NET core and executed. So that is something which you can completely ignore. Again, the other interesting thing is, even though we say run unit tests here, it can be part of your flow. But if you look at Docker file, we are using a multi-stage Docker file, which means we can also have tests as part of the Docker file itself. So that means you create the container, you compile the image inside the container, and then you can run tests within the container. And then in the final stage, you can ignore all of those and only use the artifacts, which is like a successful build as well. So I'm just saying that, you can also make use of Docker multi-stage instead of running the tests here. But this is definitely to show you how you can even use, these runs here too. And each of these steps, like for example, the next one you see this build and push Docker image. So that's to do with pushing into a container registry. And you can see that there you're using Docker slash. So again, these are templates available to you. You can go to the GitHub marketplace and check for other templates, like if you're using any other templates that you want. You can look at any other templates and you can reuse them. Those templates obviously will require a few variables in, so you need to configure a certain way. But all of them will give you that information for you, right? So yeah, so there you go. So that's
The build
the
and push.
Docker's,
Yeah.
yeah, build and push, yeah. So
Yeah, it's a
for
build and
that,
push template.
yeah, for that you will need the username and I think user registry and Docker username and password, which if you remember that we actually added that to the GitHub secrets. So
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
yeah,
So before that, just for in this template, how to read this template. When you come here, you can see that there is something called as required is equal to false. So it is not necessary to have this specific enabled. And while you're using this particular template, there are a couple of things which will be true as well. Maybe I can show you an example if it is there. No, nothing is true, like everything is false here. So anyways, we'll see that in Azure. So a couple of things. So we have this version as well here, so we are just using that. And this is a secret which we have added, right? The username, registry password, and login server. How to use it? It is like dollar, and provided with two flower buckets and secrets dot something, which you can provide the name of the secret you use there. And then obviously the Docker file, which you're going to create, and then repository which we are using, and then your tags and other things, and then your push is equal to true, which is part of the this particular template which we are using. So that's a simple one. What we're going to do is, we're going to make changes in some path code and push it to the main, and run couple of jobs through steps, one job through steps, right? So the step is would be to check out the code and run unit test. If it is true, everything is
you may want to
fine,
start
then we're going.
committing it so that because it's
Yeah.
that the runner is going to take its time too.
To create build commit directly onto the main. Yep, that's
Yeah,
it. So I think we
now you
are
can
done with this. So we just need to go to the steps. So we are
go to
done.
actions, maybe
S-
go to the actions
So
in GitHub. So you'll see that
this has been
did it, yeah. So we
no, no,
have
it
the
won't run.
yeah. We need to
It
make
won't run
changes, right?
unless we need to make
Yeah, because a
changes.
trigger
Correct.
is whenever you merge something to the
Yeah.
main, right? So
So I need to make sure that this code is added in this particular path, which is coupon.api service. So we'll go to code, we go to source, we go to services, we go to coupon API. Where should we go next? I forgot. Where is coupon API controller? Okay, we go to controllers, controllers here. So this is not the right way to code, but yeah, don't make changes directly on the repo. This is done,
yeah,
right? This is what we need.
so yeah, here this is where things are slightly changing from what it used to be. Like we always edited the code, if you remember, in an Azure CLI when the editor there. So right now, because this is part of your CI/CD pipeline, and we are not doing any automation magics inside our CLI, so you're editing the code inside the GitHub editor. But think of it like, in a real production scenario, you will be cloning this code. You may be working on some feature. You'll be adding those code, and when your approval is done, that code will get merged into your main branch, right? So, and then you can see that immediately the the workflow is triggered.
Yeah. So the moment I change the code in the specific path, there is it's running, and you can see what it is doing here is set up the job. It the good part of this is it's going to pull all those actions which we are going to use. So it is, if you see here, all the actions which we have used, it will make sure that that is available or not. That's the first test it does. And it also downloads that. And then this particular image has been pulled and other things, but unit test fails. Why does that
Wow.
fail, Nish?
And why did you write such a bad code? Like, unit test has failed, right?
Yeah.
So go to the coupon API test. So we deliberately created a test project in this scenario. So if you go into the yeah, I can tell you, like, just go into the test.
Coupon test, na
Um,
code.
yeah,
Let's go to the code and to
and there is the test.
this
No, then that
test.
right below, yeah,
Oh,
and go to the controllers within
I have
within
to go to
within the
the
test.
source.
No, below,
Oh,
right below.
within the test, na.
Yeah, within
I'm
the
doing
test.
that right. Go to
Yeah,
the
go to the controllers
controllers
and
and
then go to the
this
coupon
one.
controller test. Look at our unit test.
And
This is like how we write in production too, right? Uh, so never do this in production. And the funny thing is, like, um, I remember a time when I was previously working. I had uh, an issue
I
that
always
popped up
make
in the
this.
production. Yeah, I had an issue popped up in the production, and then I went and looked at the code, and I exactly saw this thing: assert.true equals true. And I was like, why did the unit test pass when this feature is not implemented? And then I looked at, oh, assert.true, because people didn't have time, so they just checked in the code. So the idea was inspired from it, but never do this. Uh, this is just to show you that, okay, here's how in your workflow when the unit tests fail, the next of the steps are not being executed, and you go ahead and fix that thing, right? So did you commit the
Somebody did not
right unit
review
test?
the code. Okay, so let's do that. Let's commit that change. So yeah, I think I did. This is one, right?
Yeah.
I think this
Now,
is
if you
going to be
remember,
true.
we also wrote the triggers for this thing. We provided the path for tests also. So that means when you change this unit test, the build will be triggered automatically. And there you
Yeah.
go. So it just kicked in.
So
So
build
if any
is
of you have
happening.
similar experiences of this, please feel free to send us in the comments, and we will bring this up and talk about it. Uh, so yeah, I mean, we all have it. Like, we all know the unit test scenarios in companies, sure, right?
Yeah,
So
it's running now. So let it run. While it is running, I can show you the code again. Um, it's under GitHub. You can see GitHub workflows. When you go into the GitHub workflows, is where all your actions for files will be there. So build.yaml is what we created, and this is what we did, right? So in this path, you make any changes and push it to main branch. That's when it gets triggered. So this is the event, and this is the job which is running on Ubuntu. That's it. So the jobs has steps. So you just need to create steps. This is the way back. Even in 10 years back, we used to write these build scripts, and it used to be the same, right, where you have steps and other things. It's just uh, this particular platform, GitHub Actions as a platform, has provided it in a very easier way, and it also provides with you an infrastructure like Ubuntu and other things, right? So you just need
yeah.
to use it in the way it is. It's a next version of what we were doing in 10 years back as developers and DevOps engineers, right? So let me go back
And
to,
by the way, you
okay.
can also this workflow also supports like Mac OS and Windows and other things. So
Yeah,
you can
Windows.
provide a metrics there. You can run it in parallel also. Like, if you have a reason to build a Mac OS version and a Linux version and a Windows version, since we are using Docker in this case, and what we need is a Linux and a box to run it, so we're using that. Um,
Yep, and that's it. So it is run, it has completed the job, it's built and deployed, it's ready, everything is done. So we'll go to move on to next exercise then. So we have built
yeah.
it and we have it ready. So all we need to
So
do
what
is
it has
now is
done
to
right
deploy.
now. Yeah, whatever change is done, the coupon API was created a new image, and that image has been pushed to Vivek's container registry that we created as part of the initial script, right? So So initially, if you didn't know, like when we are running the scripts, it deploys from Docker Hub because it's a public registry and it's an easy pull. But this one is more like a private registry. So only the code changes that is done in your repo is going and sitting inside your private registry. So yeah.
So I'm going to go and create new workflow for deployment. So we have
Okay.
just done the build. So let's go and do
Hmm.
the deployment stuff. Same steps, set up the workflow, go here, delete all the stuff, and copy the code, which is here, which is the YAML, the similar YAML. Um, Nothing different from the previous one which we used. You can see here we have given it a name. It's again on the path. Make some changes in the path and the branch.
Yeah, this
This will
one is
get
a different
triggered.
path though.
Yeah,
So
it's a
this
different
is a
path.
path.
Yes.
Yeah, the path is to the Helm thing because we're using Helm for deployment of microservices to Kubernetes. So we are triggering only if the Helm code is changed.
Yeah.
Again, kind of easy way to kind of like decide between deployment versus build. And by the way, you can also keep this deploy task as a separate job in the first file also. So you do have those options too, instead of keeping it separate to just saying that that's also doable. Yeah.
Yes, and this is basically the again we are running it on Ubuntu and we are using Azure Kubernetes, action. The same as what we have seen before. Just go to github.com/Azure/ hope that is correct. Yeah, this
Hmm.
is a case set context. So similarly, actions.yaml, you have all the details here. What is required? This is required. Cluster name is required, which is true, and cluster subscription details are not necessary to be provided because we are going to use credentials as a separately. That's what it means. So similarly, there is checkout which we have used previously, and also setting up Helm. You can also go and see how to uh, access this Helm as well. Same way, github.com, same thing, slash Azure slash setup Helm. Get there and then just go to actions. So you're done, right? So same thing, so we have been providing the details, so it's just provide the name. It uses this one and with couple of things. So we had set the Azure credentials to connect, so it's part of the secrets which we added last just a few moments back. And while we saw this one secrets as well in the build as well. So same thing. And while deploying, this is the command which we are going to use to deploy. And we're setting a couple of things there. And again here, registry login server, and we're going to install this particular um, coupon service through Helm. And that's it. So we did provide IP address, and this is the protocol which we are using for from a deployment perspective, where exactly the charts is available, right? So that's the details we are providing. So this is very simple. So again, as I told you, right, it's path, branch, running this job, deploy job, runs on Ubuntu, a couple of steps which is required. Simple steps. You have to log into Azure, Azure Kubernetes Service. You need credentials for that, and then you set up the Helm installer, and then you run the Helm command, and it just deploys the code there. And obviously you're providing which image to deploy and other things there, right? So that's the part of it. So let us go and commit this one, and it will not run obviously because we need to make changes in the path. So we just go there to the code. It just got created here, but we just need to go to the code, and in the code we'll just go here and make changes. Where do we make changes?
The app version and the
We
Helm.
just need
So
app version, right?
yeah.
So we just go to the YAML. Which YAML? This is coupon service we are building.
Yeah.
So we
Go
have
to
to
the
go to
deploy
deploy K8s and go to Helm simple and go to
coupon.
coupon charts. There you go. App version. What should be the app version?
Make it 1.1.0 with the copy paste guy.
1.1.0. You have to make sure uh, you copy and paste, right? Good developers do that.
Yeah,
Updated app version. What we do?
commit changes. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Now we
that
go to
should
the
trigger.
actions.
Yeah. So
Deploy.
now we are initiating a deployment. So obviously so the thing is, so if you see the Helm upgrade and we created some set and some variables, those are needed by our script internally within the charts to set up like, okay, which container registry to pull the image from and other information. So that's why those are all configurables. But it could be different how you would do in your environment. This is the easiest way we could do it to help you focus on your learning. But yeah, make sure you follow some best practices and things like that too when you're doing that in your production.
Yeah, and you
So
can just see, right? It is deleting the old one and it is creating the new one. So it is
no, that's
running the
quick.
old one. Yep, that was pretty fast. Like,
Okay,
it's
interesting.
just, I don't think so. It has yet. Let me control this one and see again.
Uh,
No,
yeah,
it is
it's
still
not ready
getting
yet.
ready. It's
Yeah,
not ready. It's still
yeah.
getting ready.
You can go to the
So
health app, health status, go to the health check UI, refresh this thing.
it should have. It's
Okay,
healthy.
so that's ready.
It's
It's already
just,
ready.
it's already ready, but it takes some time to come up.
Really? How? It's okay, something.
It takes some time to come up.
Oh, it's
It's
healthy because it does not kill the other one yet.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
because
got
the
it.
other one is still running.
Okay,
It won't die as well. The health
correct.
will remain as it is because
Yeah,
the one which comes up and then the other one
yeah, that
gets
makes sense. I mean, that's why we use
addicted.
Kubernetes, right?
Yeah,
So we remain healthy.
we remain healthy, right? So it's about like watching it to see the new one comes up, and this is what it is. So the old one is still running, the new one is up, and we just see that. We can also see this, right? The versions of the code
Yeah, just do the
is,
history and see that.
yeah. So the history, and you can see there is a change in the app version, and it's been upgraded, right?
Yep.
So this has been suspended, and this is upgraded. So what does it do? So let's go and see a couple of things. So we need to just make sure that it is up and running. So let's wait for
I think
uh,
it's good. You can go ahead and yeah, we're good.
now it
So
is
what
running.
we did, yeah, you can see that
It comes
how
back.
we are upgrading just the coupon, like the entire CI/CD pipeline only for coupon, and the other services would just continue to run, and actually even the coupon will continue to run until the last moment where it is doing the flip. And the
Now is the
code that
time which I like
to
is
test
going
it.
and buying hoodies.
Okay.
You know, buy hoodies,
Yep.
cups, mugs, whatever you want. And by the way, who wants what? If you are live,
Yeah, I think we should
tell
add more
us.
catalog items.
Yeah, like even it's okay. Like you never know. You attend in-person event and you might find this.
Vivek, I'm,
So
I'm
who wants?
actually I'm gonna go by your word, and I know this is recorded, so I'm gonna tell people, you know what Vivek promised everyone to get some .NET hoodies, right?
I was just talking about hoodies, not hoodies. Let me clear that one on air. Okay, let me buy a couple of stuff. So I did buy a couple of stuff, whatever I like, the cups, pins, and hoodies, and go there. Oh, did they mention we need to give
I just
something
add disk
discount?
5. Yeah,
Okay,
it's basically
me
you'll
too.
see it in your logs. So that's the
Yeah,
code that you wrote, right? Applying coupon.
yep.
That's a log that you tried to write there, right? So that's the
So
code chain
this
that you did.
one and the place order.
Hmm.
So now order gets getting placed and it should complete. Interestingly, I did not give my credit card details as well.
Hmm.
It just gets shipped.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, does the status have to be done in this case? Yeah, because that's when the coupon gets utilized, I think, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It has to
Okay.
get updated to paid. Um, when it gets updated to paid, you might see something in the logs like this,
Okay.
applying coupon, something like this. That's what we changed in the code, right? So we want to
Yeah,
see
I
what's
didn't pay
happening in the
attention where you changed that code. Got it.
yeah. So I'm not sure if I even search this, it would be here. Yeah, it is here.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
same
that's
thing.
done.
So this is the trace, which is for applying coupon. It's
Yeah. So
also having the trace ID, everything.
we're using
Yep.
sec here just to like show you how we are doing the monitoring, the tracing, and things. The next episode will tell you about how to do with
Sec.
Azure monitors and Prometheus, and I don't know. Well, I don't know what are you going to cover, Vivek.
Prometheus. Yes, we are going to use Prometheus. Azure more container monitor for containers. Yes,
Mhm.
that's one. Cool. I think this is what we updated and deployed. It's a simple way to roll back. So we just run this command and we roll back the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Through Helm. So we just go here
So yeah,
and
this command again could be part of your, in your workflow setup too. Like instead of running this directly on a Kubernetes cluster, you may want to have some approvals and things like that to, do some rollbacks and things like that. But anyway,
that's it.
that's the easiest way to use Helm to do upgrades and rollbacks and things like that.
So here is the
Yeah.
rollback. So we had 1.0.0, we updated it, and we rolled back the code.
Yep.
So simple. This is the easiest command you can run, right? So that's it. I think that's it about this whole. You want to go through the knowledge check as well?
Yeah,
We
let's do
have
it. I
time.
think you'll.
Okay, cool. Let's go with the first question.
So send us your answers. You can use 1, 2, 3, and 4 to type in the comments instead of typing the entire answer. So the question is, without using the GitHub Actions marketplace, where should sensitive information such as credentials be stored for actions? Should we show? Sorry, it's about sensitive information, so just remember that. Should we store in app settings.json? Should we do web.config? Vivek, do you even know what web.config is?
No,
Because you're new to
what
.NET,
was
right? So
that?
that's it's been predominantly used as a
I know.
configuration system for
Yes, yes.
ASP.NET.
Yeah, that's part of the
Um,
configurations which you can set it up. And um, I've used app
yeah,
settings.json before.
yeah, cool. Azure Key Vault and GitHub Secrets. So because the question is very specific about without using the GitHub Actions marketplace, so I assume it's going to be the Azure Key Vault. So yeah, for any sensitivity related information, you should probably use Azure Key Vault. But if you're not using, you can also use GitHub Secrets to for
Store
because we
people
already
specific.
store credentials, so we did that. You can see you could have seen that. What is the purpose of creating an Azure Active Directory service principal for using in GitHub Actions? So the question is the purpose of creating Azure Active Directory service principal. So one, the service principal is for storing application logs. The service principal is the name of the AKS resource. The service principal is the GitHub Actions identity for performing tasks in Azure. The service principal is the web URL of the app. So yes, that's the number 3 again. The service principal is the GitHub Actions identity. So there was a question from Mithun also asking about, can you use managed identity instead of service principal? The answer is yes, and I've sent this link too. And during deployment, what is the purpose of Kubernetes creating a new container while the old one is still running? Yeah, so yeah, that's a very easy one. Avoid downtime, right? We saw that now because we were looking for health. When is it going to die? And I was like, oh, wait, never died. So click on check your answers and see.
GitHub Actions.
Oh, oh,
Or we read it without using GitHub Actions marketplace. Where should use it? it is not using marketplace. And to be stored for actions is GitHub secrets.
Okay, that's a definite question for confusion, right? Like, and I swear that I did not write that question because otherwise I would have known.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it makes sense. Yeah.
Uh,
So
we just wanted to make sure everybody's following us, and they're going to put 4, but everybody thought it's 3. Right. Perfect. I think this is great. So let's
you can't
continue.
continue
Okay,
without
summarize.
fixing that thing.
That's okay.
Okay.
It just,
Yeah.
whatever we did, we can just go through this, but you can learn all of these things through the cloud skill challenge. So its link is here. It's pretty simple. It's aka.ms, samosachai.net, and all the learn modules are out there. You will learn tons of things if you go through those modules, right? This is the QR code as well. And I think we are over time, like
Yep.
1 hour 7 minutes going. Perfect. So that's about it. So we are done with seventh, and we have one final episode on microservices. So which is on 21st of April. So let us catch up then, Nish.
Wonderful. Yet another amazing episode that ran successfully where the demos didn't fail. So we are always fingers crossed with live coding and making the demos work and without breaking the internets and the electricities of people like both me and Vivek's, like we have had technical issues in the past. So
It's like
this is
I was
great.
freezing. One of the shows I was freezing. Yeah.
Why? Because
There was no internet. Like
oh,
I,
you
w-
mean you were frozen and okay, got it.
I was
I
frozen,
thought
and
for a moment I
yeah.
thought you have an air cooler that went wrong or something.
Oh, I know I was frozen. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Amazing.
Ciao.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Vivek. This has been a wonderful show, as always. And we will see you in the next
Thank you, Nish. Thank you, Rashmita, for hosting us and ghosting us. Okay. Okay. Bye.
ghosting.